In this masterclass, in this session, I'm going to talk about things that I think are useful for everyone. I was really excited to share this with people all over the world who are not just my students, but actually all my friends, my family. Because what I want to share tonight in this session is stuff which is really useful for everyone. I want to talk about the simple things you can do to help relieve problems and prevent problems of your 9 main joint complexes. So I'm going to talk about things you can do to help problems and relieve the possibility of getting problems in your ankles, your knees, your hips, your waist, meaning your lower back, etc., and also working on the internal organs, and also your chest and your upper back, your neck, and also your shoulders, your elbows and wrists. And I'm loosely going to do it in that order. But before we begin, I want to just make it clear that I can't see you, I don't know your bodies, and you really have to look after yourself. So I'll be giving suggestions as to what works best for most people, most of the time, physically, meaning muscles, bones, joints, etc. Physiologically, meaning nervous system, energy levels, blood flow, internal organs. And also mentally, in terms of how easy it is to understand, how calm you feel, how focused you feel while doing it. But everyone's quite different, and so some people will find some of the things I'm doing a little bit too easy, a little bit too boring perhaps. Others will find some bits too hard, maybe too complex to work out, too difficult to do. So I'd like you to grade what you're doing and make sure that while you're doing it, it feels good. Don't do anything which doesn't feel good. So I'll give suggestions, but no obligation. And what I'd like you to do, perhaps, is to assume that you've got something in any one of your 9 joint complexes, ankles, knees, hips, waist, chest, neck, shoulders, elbows, wrists, which might not be working as well as it could be. And I'm going to ask you to see how these parts of your body feel now, and then how they feel at the end of the practice. And the thing is, the body is a very connected place. Meaning, we might be doing exercises of the ankles, knees, and hips, but at the same time, those exercises which could help ankles, knees, or hips can actually be helping your lower back. We could be working with the wrists, elbows, and shoulders, and those exercises could help your neck. So what I want you to do is just to loosely feel your body by just testing. Can you just quickly have a feel of your body? Stand up if you're comfortable to do so. You can also sit if you need to, but if you can't stand, and do the exercises that you can do without strain, but don't feel in any way compelled to do them. And I just want you to test your body and see how it feels. So first of all, very gently, bring your head forward, head backward. See how it feels. Take your head to the right and left, see how it feels, and then turn your head right and left and see how it feels. And in a way, this is a test for your neck and how it feels right now. And at the end of the practice, and after we do specific exercises for your neck, I want you to see if it feels better. Like better means more mobile, more easy to move, maybe a little bit more stable perhaps, and a little bit more pain-free, more... What you want is all your joints to be moving. This is a term that I was given when I was learning to be a physiotherapist. Joints should ideally move in a way which is 100 times more mobile, more slippery than ice skates on ice. That's a healthy joint. So if you feel restriction, that's something we want to ideally dissipate. Okay, so now having felt your neck, now feel your trunk, your spine. I'm going to take my shirt off so you can see my trunk, my abdomen, etc. It helps, but I always like to start wearing clothes so people think I'm semi-normal. And so then what we'll do is I want you to just stand facing me. For all this practice, face me. So you'll be facing towards your screen the same way I'm facing along the front of this mat. So you can see the view from behind me if I'm facing away, and you'll be able to follow me going right and left if I'm doing stuff facing away. I'll rarely do a mirror image. And so That way you'll get the best idea of what I'm doing. Sometimes I'm going to face sideways so you can see a side view. But if I'm facing sideways, I'd rather you face towards me. So face towards me and just feel what your back feels like. How does it feel to bend forward with your back? As you do that, keep the chin up and just see how it feels. How does it feel to bend backward with your trunk? Just bend backward a bit. Feel your trunk, lower back and upper back. How does it feel? Feel how it feels to bend sideways to the right, sideways to the left. Feel how it feels to twist to your right and twist to your left. So now you've felt a little bit about the base level of your spine, your trunk, your internal organs. How much energy do you have right now? Are you cold? Do you feel lethargic? So just note how you feel now and then see how you feel at the end of the practice. Mainly today, I'm trying to work on joints, joint function, meaning the strength of a joint, the stability of a joint, its mobility and levels of flexibility, and also the pain levels it may have, depending on what's wrong with it or what's not wrong with it. Other classes, I sometimes focus more on energy and blood flow and nerve function and internal organ function. But for this section, focus on the joints, structure and function, but also note how your blood flow feels, how warm your fingers are, how much your heart's racing. Just note it and experience it and feel it and measure it at the beginning and the end. Now, have a look at your shoulders. So how easy is it to bring your arms up into flexion? How easy is it to bring the arms backward into extension? How easy is it to take the arms outward into abduction and then inward into adduction, where you bring the arms in front with flexion, or bring the arms inward towards each other behind your back? How easy is that for you? Measure. Now test your shoulders, how they turn in and out. How does that feel? Does it cause discomfort? Does it feel stiff for you? Test it. Now measure your elbows. How easy do the elbows bend and straighten and turn in and out? Palms down, palms up. Okay, test those things. Now test your wrists. How easy is it to flex and extend the wrist? How easy is it perhaps, and you don't have to do this, but say you have a wall in front of you or perhaps a floor, how easy would it be to kneel, if you can kneel, and lean on your palms and bring your shoulders towards your fingers, taking weight on the hands? So test that if it's comfortable for you. Don't do it if it doesn't feel right. If you don't feel like kneeling, you could lean against the wall and see how that feels. Or you could just bring your palms together and test like that. How easy is it to make a fist? How easy is it to move the fingers? So test these things. Now we're going to test the ankles, knees, and hips. How easy is it for you to balance on the right leg? So lean on your right leg, lift up the left leg, and just see if you can balance. Lean on the left leg, pick up the right leg. How easy can you balance? How easy is it for you to bend forward at your hips? So take the right leg forward, left leg back. And then keep your chin up, but bend forward over your right leg and see how easy is it to go over your right leg without discomfort. How's the state of the back of your legs? How's the state of your hips? The state of the front and back of your hips? And then test on the other leg. Put left leg forward, right leg back. Go forward over your left leg. See how it feels. Keep the chin up to do this in the beginning. How easy is it to feel on the back of your hips, front of the hips? Don't go any further than you comfortably can. I'm just doing this as a set of tests for your body, a base level. Before you can do anything to help yourself, you have to know what to help. You have to know how you're feeling at the start. And then we're going to do a series of posture, movement, breath control exercises to see if you can help the function of these joints. And maybe some of you have got specific injuries at these places, and you'll be working with an injured body, so be extra careful. How about your knees? How do your knees feel? So we can check with your knees and the ankles at the same time. What does it feel like to do, say, a bent knee position? So try this. Take your right leg forward, left leg back. Keep facing me, but I'll turn sideways so you can see. How does it feel to bend the right knee above the right heel? Does that feel okay? What happens if you go further, knee toward the toes? Does that feel okay? What happens if you bring the knee left and right? Does that feel okay? Careful. Change legs. Have left leg forward, right leg back. Keep facing me, but have the left knee above the left heel. Don't go any further than it feels right, but just test. Can you bring the knee further forward, or does it feel uncomfortable? Can you bring your knee left and right? Does that feel okay? Then could you perhaps raise up the heels? For the ankles test, can you raise up your heels up and down? Does that feel okay? Then test perhaps, can you squat? Now don't force this, because a squat can be uncomfortable for your lower back. It can be uncomfortable for your knees, hips, or ankles. But how far can you squat down slowly while being able to come back up? Now if that's all you can do, don't go further. But for the ones who know it's safe to do so, can you squat further and slowly, not fast, come back up? How does it feel for your knees, hips, and ankles? Could you go all the way down without strain? How do your ankles, knees, and hips feel? All right, so now, not for everyone, but those who are comfortable to do so, sit on the floor and experience a cross-legged position, if you can do it. I don't expect everyone to do this. And then how does it feel from a cross-legged position? Perhaps to bend forward. Does it feel okay for your knees? If not, don't do it. Or how far can you go before causing discomfort? Don't do it if it hurts. But if you know you can go a little bit, but it feels uncomfortable, just go, stop before the pain becomes uncomfortable. Then come back up. And let's now begin doing some of the things that we can do to help ankles, knees, hips, waist, chest, neck, shoulders, elbows, and wrists. So the first thing we'll work with, and I'm not going to spend too long on each part because we've only got about an hour or so, but what I'm going to do is go through the basic techniques that I found help in my experience teaching posture, movement, breathing in the form of yoga classes, exercise-based physiotherapy. I've taught different types of martial art, different types of dance, for example, different types of gymnastics. And what things tend to be the most useful things to do for the most common injuries? Well, let's start with the ankle, shall we? The most common injury in the ankle is an outer ankle sprain. This is the sort of injury where maybe you're walking, and as you walk, the ankle rolls over the side like this. And so the outside ankle has been completely overstretched. Maybe even some of the ligaments have been torn, perhaps. So if it's an outer ankle sprain, then one of the most useful things to do is the following exercise. Now, it's a balance exercise, so you might need to do it touching a wall to help your balance. And so you can take that option, hold a chair if you need to. I won't do that, I'll face you. And so what you want to do is start with your big toes touching and the heels about 4 or 5 centimeters apart. So you can see my front view. Now I'll show a rear view. Big toes touching, heels about 4 or 5 centimeters apart. And then what I'd like you to do is shift the weight from head over hips over heels to head over hips forward over the toes. And as you do that, you'll feel your toes will start to grip and the calf muscles start to switch on. What I'd like you to do now is to lift the outer feet. So if you look at me for a second, what I'm talking about is the muscle on the outer ankle, which if I lift up my tights, you'll see if I lift my outer foot, there is a muscle called an inverter muscle which comes in the outer foot when I pull the little toe side of the foot up toward the knee. So that's the muscle I want you to use. And you see it tightens the outer ankle. But we're going to do this while keeping the ankles touching and the heels apart. So I'll call this lumpy bit the malleoli, the ankle, and there's your heel. So as we come up, I want your ankle to touch, but keep the heel apart. You bring the weight toward the front of the feet. Grip with your toes. Then lift the outer feet. I'm showing the feet as if they're my hands. Okay, my hands as if they're my feet rather. So you press on the toes, lift the outer feet and raise up the heels. So you've got ankles touching and heels apart. Now I'll face the other way so you can see, and I'm going to hold the wall, and you could do this. Big toes touching, heels apart, shift the weight to the front of the feet and lift the outer feet as you raise the heels. So you've got ankles touching, heels apart, then come up and down. And you could go up and down quite slowly, or you can go faster than me or slower than me if you wish. And you might do this maybe 10 times if it feels okay. Notice I'm keeping my ankles touching and I'm not letting the ankles move apart. What I don't want you to do is this, letting the heels touch and the ankles move apart. So come back down. Again, hold the wall if you need, shift the weight toward the front of the feet, grip with the toes, lift the outer feet, and with your knees straight, raise up the heels so the ankles touch, heels stay apart, and you go up and down. I'll go sideways so you can see what I'm doing, and I'm not really bringing the weight down fully onto my heels, I'm just touching the ground with my heels. And I'm going up and down, and you can do this 10 times, 20 times perhaps, depending on your level of ability. And what we're doing, you can rest for a second if you need, keep going if you want. This is going to help the ankle muscles work really well. But while we're doing it, it's also affecting your knees. So although we're doing therapy for the ankles, you're also helping your knees because the calf muscle, which you can feel, and the outer ankle significantly help knee function. So this is a great knee exercise. Now you can make the exercise a little bit further and further help ankles and knees if you do the same exercise with your knees bent. So once again, hold the wall if you need, have big toes touching, heels apart, shift the weight to the front of the feet, this time bend the knees. Halfway, but no more than halfway, maybe less than halfway. And as you shift the weight over the toes, raise the heels up, keep the knees bent and go up and down with the knees bent. And as you're doing that, keep the ankles touching, heels apart. Don't let this happen. Don't let the ankles touch and the heels go apart. It's ankles touching, heels apart. Don't let the heels touch and ankles move apart. Ankles touching, heels apart, this time with the knee bent. And what this does is it creates a co-activation, a simultaneous tensing of the muscle at the front of the knee, your quadriceps, and the muscles at the back of the knee, your calves, and that stabilizes your knee. At the same time, you're stabilizing around the ankle. So this can really help ankle problems and knee problems. So go up and down with the knee bent, ankles touching, heels apart. Then release. Now, they're two basic exercises, but if you want, you can add on to that 2 more exercises which help ankles and knees, and they will be modifying so you're moving the ankles at the same time as bending and straightening the knees. I might add at this point that a lot of people have core problems. Core problems means problems usually of the lower back that might manifest as back pain, weakness in the trunk, and or internal organ function. And that can include things like gut-brain interaction problems, which can affect emotions, not to mention things like immune system, digestive system, reproductive problems. And the thing is, when you bring the weight to the front of the feet, it's been shown to trigger the transverse abdominis. So one of the most useful exercises that you could learn, and this is a great step to begin it, is to learn how to bring the lower abdomen in like I'm doing now. So you can see my abdomen here relaxed, my abdomen here firm. But can you make your abdomen draw inwards so the lower abdomen is in but soft and upper abdomen out but soft? Once you can learn to do that, you can learn to roll the abdomen like I'm doing now, and it gives your internal organs a massage, plus it releases the lower back and enhances your energy levels tremendously. One of the most important ways to learn this is by shifting the weight to the front of the feet. So when I'm learning this action, I do it by bringing the weight toward the toes when I pull my lower abdomen in, and then release it when I bring my weight to my heels. So I go weight on toes, pull in the lower abdomen, weight on heels, release the lower abdomen. And that's one of the ways I can learn it. So this exercise, which I've given you mainly for the ankles, also affects knees and the waist, and it's just basically ankles touching, heels apart, grip with the toes, lift the heels and raise the heels up and down, like I'm doing now. So phase 1 is the knee straight. Phase 2, do it with the knee bent. And then phase 3, as you raise the heel, straighten the knee. As you lower the heel, bend the knee. So this is the third version of the exercise. Bend the knee, lower the heel, straighten the knee, raise the heel. And you can come up and down doing that about 10 times as well. Holding the wall if you wish. If you don't need to hold the wall, don't, and just apply a general principle of practice when balancing, which is 3 things. 1, look at the floor for balance. 2, grip with your toes for balance. 3, keep the knee bent for balance, not fully locked or straight. Okay, now the 4th phase is a little bit tricky. You bend your knee while raising the heel, and you straighten your knee, not fully, while lowering the heel. So it's like this. So I'll touch the wall for balance. You don't need to. Keeping my hips level, I raise the heel, bend the knee, then lower the heel, straighten the knee. And as I'm doing it, I'm keeping my ankles touching and heels apart. So not letting the heels touch, ankles move apart. It's ankles touching, heels apart, and that will tighten the outer ankle, which stabilizes a lot of that outer ankle instability coming as a result of ankle sprains, which in many countries are the most common musculoskeletal injury. All right. Okay, so that's enough for the ankles. Now, the next thing I'm going to work with briefly is the knees. And now the most useful thing you can do for the knee is to tighten all around the knee. Now, you don't need to tighten it fully in the beginning. You can just tighten the bit that doesn't tighten enough, and that's usually the hamstring. And so to learn to really tighten your hamstring, one of the things you can do is acknowledge that the hamstring is a muscle that extends the hip or takes the leg back behind you. So to make the hamstring work as a hip extensor rather than the buttocks muscle, which can also extend your hip, you need to turn your thigh inwards. So I'd like you to lean on the right leg, come to the left toe tip, round your back out, and then keeping the lower back lengthened, step back your left leg, shift the weight to the left leg. Now twist your navel towards your right thigh, shift the weight to the right leg, and put your fingers on the top of the hips. Don't move the top of the hips, but now turn your left thigh inwards. Then shift the weight back to your left leg, lengthen the lower back, and I'll turn sideways so you round out the lower back a little bit. Relax your abdomen. It'll look soft and flabby, but it doesn't matter. The more you tighten your abdomen, often the more it restricts the healing process. In many cases, not always, but in many cases, if healing is needed, if you can't breathe into your abdomen, that's one of the worst things that will disable you from healing. So with your lower back lengthened, the weight in the left leg, the abdomen expanded, now shift the weight to the right leg and look at the floor for balance, bend the right leg for balance, grip with the toes for balance, and then if you can, lift the left leg off the floor. And you could be holding a wall with one hand, but then with the hands on the hips, practice turning your left thigh in and out. Notice as I'm doing that, my left hip is not moving. See, where my fingers are is not moving. And if you can do that, so to the knee turns in and out, when your knee turns in, your buttocks should relax and your hamstring should release. When you turn the thigh out, the buttocks should harden and the hamstring releases. Now, these are really important exercises because when you turn your left thigh in, and you release the buttocks, that will open up your sacroiliac joint, which is the source of a lot of lower back pain. And it can instantly relieve people's lower back just by standing like this, rounding the back out and turning your left thigh in. You get relief of the left lower back. Around the sacrum, on the left side, between the sacrum, the fused part of the lower spine, and the outer left hip. At the same time, the hamstring, the back of the leg, that becomes very firm. And that often is a problem for many people with knee problems. Okay, then release it, bring it back down, and just see how your knee feels. If you compare left knee to right knee, if you just maybe try again, how does it feel to squat? Does your left knee feel a little bit better? You can go a little bit further if you wish by tightening more muscles around the left knee. So let's try that. We go, take the right leg forward, come to the left toe tip, round the back out, shift the weight from the right leg and lean back with your left leg. Turn the navel to the right, shift the weight to the right leg, and with the hips level, turn the left thigh in and shift the weight back to your left leg. Keep the lower back lengthened, and then shift the weight to the right leg and look at the floor for balance, grip with toes for balance, bend the knee for balance, hold the wall if you wish, and lift up the left leg. Then from there, the hamstring is tight. If you turn your left thigh more inwards and push your left thigh to the right, that will tighten the inner thigh more. And if you now pull up your kneecap, that will tighten the front of the thigh. So pulling up the kneecap, you have to do consciously. If you spread your toes, pushing away the base of the big toe, that tightens the calves. And then pull the outer foot to the knee, it tightens the outer calves, like in the ankle exercise. Now, it's important you breathe into the abdomen, and the more you bring the left leg to the right, the more it releases the tension on the outer hip, and that can often cause a problem in your hip. So here now we're not just releasing the lower back and the knee, we're also releasing some hip problems. Then release. Now, once again, just test how your knee feels if you lower the hip down. How does it feel if you squat half or full? Does the left knee feel a little bit more comfortable, perhaps? Test and see if it's been helpful. Not every exercise I offer is useful for everyone, but I'm giving the things that help most people most of the time. You could also test, if you wish, in a cross-legged position and see if you bring yourself to cross-legged and bend forward slightly, does your left knee feel a bit more comfortable than your right knee, perhaps, or than it was before? Maybe change cross-legged so the other leg is in front. Bend forward and backward a bit. Does your left knee feel a bit more stable? You test and see. And then stand back up. Let's do the right leg. So to stabilize the right leg, first of all, practice activating the hamstrings. So shift the weight forward onto your left leg. Come further forward with your right leg to come to the right toe tip. Then round the lower back out. And then slide back your right leg. Take the weight on the right leg and bend forward with your spine. Twist your belly button to the left. And then shift the weight to the left leg, come to the right toe tip. Keeping the hips level, maybe using your hands on the hips to help. Turn your right thigh inwards. Then look at the floor for balance. Grip with your left toes for balance. Keep the left knee bent for balance and lift the right leg just a little bit off the floor. Now, if you test, it will mean that the right hamstring is automatically firm when the hips are level. Now, if you turn your right thigh out and in, we can try that. Notice I'm not letting my right hip go up and down like this. I'm keeping the top of the hip, the iliac crest level, and turning my right thigh out and in. And what you should feel if you do this, that as the right thigh turns out, the buttocks goes hard, hamstring goes soft. When you turn the right thigh in, buttocks goes soft, hamstring goes firm. Now, the benefit is that when your thigh turns in and your buttocks releases, that can traction or release the sacroiliac joint, which is the source of a lot of lower back pain and a lot of nerve discomfort, a lot of stress in the body. Because around this region, the parasympathetic nervous system nerves come out. So then when you turn your thigh outward, it actually tightens that region and can often stabilize the back of the hip and release tension at the front of the hip. So not that one exercise is right or wrong. When you turn your left thigh in, that can release lower back problems. When you turn your left thigh out, your right thigh in, it releases the right lower back. When you turn your right thigh out, that can relieve the front of the right hip and stabilize the back of the hip. When you turn your right thigh in, it also tightens the hamstrings and inner thigh, which can help give strength and stability to the back of the knee. The back of the knee is firm automatically here, but if you take the right thigh to the left like this, you'll feel the inner right thigh becomes firmer and the outer right thigh lengthens and relaxes, and you can release a lot of outer hip tension in the outer hip, which can actually relieve knee tension. If you've got knee pain, sometimes the outer hip is a problem in situations like patellar maltracking. And then to get the whole knee firm, consciously pull up your kneecap. Make the front of the thigh firm by straightening your knee and activating the front thigh. Then spread the toes and pull the outer foot to the knee. Then all the muscles become firm around the knee. So you pull up the kneecap to tighten front thigh, turn the right thigh in to tighten the hamstring, move it to the left to tighten inner thigh, spread the toes to tighten the calf, outer foot pull to knee to tighten outer calf, then lengthen the back and breathe into your abdomen to relax your nervous system and allow the healing process to take place and blood to flow. Then release, bend the knee and come back to standing. Just move your legs back and forth. And then again, see, how does your knee feel now? Has it made your body warmer? Because this really moves blood. The other thing this does is when you take the leg into this turned in position is it releases the psoas muscle. And the psoas is the muscle at the front of the hip that becomes very shortened when we sit for prolonged periods of time, and it become the source of a lot of lower back pain. So when you do this exercise of extending the hip, so taking the leg back behind you, what you want to make sure of is you're not arching the back as you lift the leg up, because that will just squash the back. That's why I'm asking you to come to the toe tip first, making a conscious forward bend so you lengthen the skin of your lower back, then take the left leg back. And then what you do is you release the front of the hip. And this can be a really good way of releasing lower back pain. So you may feel in your body now, how does it feel to just walk a little bit? Do your hips feel a bit better? Does your knee feel a bit better? Does your ankle feel a bit better? And maybe test, go down and up. Does your lower back feel a bit better? See how it feels. It'll be different for everyone. And do you feel warmer? Okay, let's do a couple of things for the hips. One thing for the hip is to release the hamstrings, because hamstring pain is very uncomfortable. So when we take the right leg forward and left leg back, and we bend forward over the right leg, maybe now it's a little bit easier based on what you've done, because you've strengthened the hamstring instead of just stretching it. You don't want to feel a stretch in the hamstring. So one of the things you can do to relieve hamstring tension is to activate the front of the thigh. Now, if you need to, again, hold the wall with your left hand and lift up your right leg off the ground and feel how that tightens the whole front of the leg. Now, if this hurts the front of your hip, don't do it. There's other exercises that might be better. But for people who can do it, as the front of the thigh becomes active, it releases the back of the thigh. And doing this for about 30 seconds before a hamstring stretch can make it much easier to stretch the back of the legs or to create flexibility in the back of the legs. So now, having done that, notice how warm you get. Put the right leg back on the floor, take the left leg back, keep facing me, but I'll turn sideways. Go forward of your right leg and notice if it's a little bit easier. Now bend the knee. It's always safer if you bend the knee, push the hip forward, stand back up. Now, you can make the hamstring a lot easier to bend forward into if you push your sitting bone, the ischial tuberosity, the part of the bone that you feel like you're sitting on when you sit down, feel like you're pushing that towards your foot. So if you take again right foot forward, left foot back, face me. I'll turn sideways so you can see. Get a feeling this time of pushing your sitting bone towards your right foot, as if I'm doing that. So I'm pushing my right sitting bone into my right foot, and then I bend forward. And as you do that, that tends to stabilize the hamstring, make it less likely to tear or overstretch. Now to come up, it's usually safer to bend the right knee, push the hip forward, stand back up. So what you don't want to do is push the sitting bone backward and up. Okay, you can try that if you wish and see the difference. So from this position, what happens if you do what many people teach? Push your sitting bone backward and up and go forward. Notice the hamstring stretches more. Bend the knee, come back up. So I'll suggest don't do that. When you're bending forward over your right leg, push your sitting bone toward the foot as if you're trying to stretch the mat with your feet, but the feet start at your hips. And then when you go forward, keep your chin up. Otherwise, the chin down will overstretch the nerves in the back of the neck going down the spine to the back of the leg and can cause pain. Bend the knee to come back up. And see, that felt a little bit easier for your hamstrings. So let's try the left leg. Take your left leg forward, right leg back. And without doing anything special first, test how easy it is to go over your left leg. Notice if the left leg feels a bit stiffer. Bend the knee, stand back up. So to release the left leg in the same way, lean on your right leg, come to the left toe tip, lift up the left leg off the ground. And if it feels uncomfortable in the front of the left hip, don't do this. But if it's not a problem for you, hold the left leg in the air, turn your left thigh slightly outward, and then check the toes can move, the shoulders can move, your neck is free, check your pelvic floor feels relaxed, and you can breathe naturally into your abdomen like when you are asleep. The most regenerative thing that you do. Make that happen. That sleep feeling while you're actually doing practice makes a big difference. And then after having been here for 30 seconds or so, you can go higher if you wish, lower if you need. This position will automatically tighten the front of your leg, which releases the back of the leg by a nerve system reflex. Now put the leg on the floor and go forward and see if it feels a little bit easier. And for most people, it'll feel a little bit easier. Bend the knee, stand back up, but you'll get a better result if when stretching one leg at a time forward, which is the best way to stretch the back of the legs, not both legs at the same time, one leg at a time, and not on the floor, better standing up. Put the left leg forward, right leg back. Have the legs about 1 meter or so apart. Now push your left sitting bone toward the left foot as you go forward. So it feels like you're pushing your left foot forward, like you're trying to stretch the mat with your feet, but your feet start at your sitting bones. So push your sitting bones into the feet, relax your pelvic floor to do that. Otherwise, it becomes a problem. Of course, if it If it's not right to relax your pelvic floor, don't do it. But if you can, let it be as relaxed as you can without problems. Then bend the knee, push the hip forward, stand up, and just compare that with not doing what I said. Gently, how does it feel for your hamstring? If you've got a hamstring tear, you'll find if you do the opposite, if you lift your sitting bone up as you bend forward, the hamstring stretches a lot more. So bend the knee, push the hip forward. You don't want to feel any stretch. The best flexibility feeling is the one where you're doing something which someone else looks like it's flexible, but it doesn't feel like a stretch to you. So finding ways of minimizing the sensation of stretch while still doing things which we consider flexibility things give you the best result. So avoid the sensation of stretching if you can, but do things which make you flexible. And so that would mean you activate the front of the left thigh, and you can do that by lifting up the leg. You could also do it by pulling up the kneecap. But if you're pulling up the kneecap, you have to also press on the front of the feet, otherwise you get hamstring pain. And so then from that position, push the left sitting bone toward the left foot, like stretching the mat with your feet, and then bend forward. Keeping the chin up is easier. Then to come out of the position, push the hip forward to come up. It's easiest to do that if you bend the knee to push the hip forward to stand up. Good. Now, that deals with the sensations of problems at the back of the hips. Now, can you deal with the problems at the front of the hips? Many people have problem at the front of the hip because of this constant sitting on chairs, and the sitting on chairs tightens all the front of the hips, which pulls the head of your femur or thigh bone forward into the ball and socket joint, and it compresses, and that rubbing of the ball and socket joint, because the femur or thigh bone is pulled forward, abrades the front of people's hips, to the point that 1 in every 2 people over the age of 40 or 50, if a bone doctor, an orthopedic surgeon, looks at x-rays of 100 people over the age of 50, they'll say on average 50 of them need double hip replacements because the hips are so abraded by the activities of modern daily life, which mostly includes sitting on chairs. So to relieve these hip problems, one of the things you can do is relax the front of the hip and activate the back of the hip. So if you're a person who feels that when you lift up your left leg, it feels tension at the front of the hip, do the following exercise. Again, face me. Lean on your right leg, come to left toe tip, round the back out, and then from there, lift back your left leg, come to left toe tip, and then from there, I'll turn sideways so you can see. Keep the lower back lengthened, then try and lengthen the front of the left hip. So the front of the left hip lengthened, lower back lengthened, hold a wall if you need, or grip with your toes for balance, bend the knee for balance, lift the left leg up in the air. Now what you want here is to turn the left thigh outward. So I'll show you from behind. Turn the left thigh outward, round the back out, and push the pubic bone more forward and the knee further back. And what this does is it tightens small muscle groups at the back of the hip, which will actually pull the head of the femur or thigh bone back into the socket, and it can relieve pressure on the front of the hip joint, and it can be a very simple, quick fix for many people who have anterior hip pain. And you hold this for a few moments. But to really make it work, hold the position without thinking of tightening anything. So the muscles will work by themselves in this position. Your job is to relax the pelvic floor, drop the sitting bones, relax the abdomen, and breathe into the abdomen. Here, a tight abdomen won't help. It will just cause extra tension in your hip. A lot of problems in the body come from overtension, not lack of strength. So round the back out, lengthen the front of the left hip, push the left knee back, and keep the lower back rounded out, and turn your left thigh outward. And that can really relieve the sensation of compression at the front of the hip. Now come back down and see, if you lift up your left leg, does it feel easier to lift up your left leg? Less tension at the front? Most people will say yes. See how it feels for you. Everyone's different. Let's try the other leg. So if you lean on your left leg, come to the right toe tip in front, and face me. You could hold a chair or something. I'm just turning sideways so you can see. I lift up my right leg. When we do that, often 50% of the people over the age of 50 feel tension at the front of the hip. How do you relieve that? If you want to relieve tension at the front of the hip, tighten the back of the hip in this position. Shift the weight to your left leg, come to the right toe tip, round the back out. Now turn sideways so you can see. With my lower back rounded outwards, slide or lift the right leg back to the right leg, behind you, left leg in front. Push the pubic bone over your left foot. Top of the hips back, away from the left foot, so you round the back out. Lengthen the front of the right hip. Hold a wall if you need to, and lift the right leg off the floor. So you've got the lower back lengthened and the front of the hip lengthened. These are the two most important things, not just to relieve the hip, but also to release lower back problems. So then from there, I'll just show it from behind, you try and turn the thigh outward. And as you turn the thigh outwards, don't move the top of the hip. So don't move this bit where my finger is touching. Keep the top of the hip level as you turn your thigh out. So round out the lower back, push the pubic bone forward, push the front of the hip forward, push the knee back. Then check fingers can move, toes can move. Check your shoulders can move freely, your neck can move freely. Relax the pelvic floor and breathe into the abdomen. Okay, make sure the abdomen can breathe or roll. And you hold for a few moments. And then release and see if you can lift your right leg up a little bit easier. Is it less tension at the front of the hip? These are a couple of simple, quick fixes for your hip, the front of the hip especially. All right, let's work now briefly on the shoulders. Okay, so when we're working with the shoulders and the elbows and the wrists, you can also be working on the neck. So our necks now are a little bit more opened already perhaps, but just see how it feels. Again, head down, head up, head to right twist, head to left twist, back to the center, lower the right head to the left, head to right, see how it feels. Now, what happens if you tension the nerves going from the neck all the way to the shoulders, elbows and wrists? Because the arms are very connected to the neck and they're connected by nerves. So one of the most useful things to do to help relieve problems in the neck, shoulders, elbows, and wrists are simple nerve tensioning exercises. Nerve tensioning is a way of saying mobilizing your nerves. So the nerves are like electrical cables where you've got the cable on the inside and a plastic coat on the outside. So a good cable will be able to move inside like a knife moves inside a sheath. You have to feel the cable can move freely inside. And this will come more when your body is a little bit more alkaline, when your body's a bit warmer, and when you make blood flow around the muscles and the joints a little bit better. So nerve tensioning can make your joints work better and your muscles work better as well because the nerves function better. So these are simple nerve tensionings, 5 of them that we can do. And I'd like you to face me, but when you're doing it, look toward me. Don't turn your head sideways. So start with your knees bent, sit in a chair if you wish. Lower the sitting bones and round the back out. Relax your abdomen. And then start with nerve tensioning 1. Keep facing towards me. Turn your shoulders in and stretch the wrists. So you bring your shoulders down slightly, elbows up slightly, and lengthen the front of the wrists. This can be very therapeutic for your shoulders, your elbows, your wrists. And it's a very good one to do after you've been doing things like push-ups. Okay? And then from there, the second position, just release it first, come down. How does it feel? Does your wrist feel a bit better? Your elbow? Does your shoulder move more freely? Does your neck feel better? Just move them a little bit, see. Let's try the second one. So the first one again, turn the shoulders in, stretch the wrists. The second one, turn the shoulders out and open the front of the palms. And this one tensions a different nerve coming out from the brachial plexus or the back of the neck. And here it's shoulders down, elbows up, shoulders slightly forward, elbows slightly back, and check that the face is relaxed, that you can breathe into the abdomen, knees slightly bent, drop the hips and relax your pelvic floor as much as you comfortably can. And then release. And see again, how do your fingers feel? How does your wrist feel? How do your elbows feel? How does your shoulders feel? How does your neck feel? Do you feel a bit warmer? If it's been positive, then move on to the next one. If it feels uncomfortable, and it can feel uncomfortable in my experience in very small numbers of people, 1 in every 100 might feel that's a bit uncomfortable, in which case you can do it less or skip it. Third nerve tensioning. Let's do first 1, 2, then 3. 1, turn the shoulders in, stretch the wrists. 2, turn the shoulders out, open the palms. 3, point the fingers up. So in this position, keep facing me, knees a bit bent, back lengthened. Bring the shoulders down, slightly forward, elbows up, slightly back, and you bring the fingers to point up to the ceiling. And then from that position, pull the fingers towards you in wrist extension. And notice it's quite a different sensation to stretching muscles. Do not turn your head. Keep your head facing straight ahead. And then release. Now again, test. Fingers, wrists, elbows, shoulders. How do they move? How does the neck feel? Is it making your arms and neck feel better? Test. See. Gently. Next one. That's nerve tensioning 3, nerve tensioning 4 and 5. So we go like this. 1, turn the shoulders in, stretch the wrists. 2, turn the shoulders out, open the palms. 3, point the fingers up. 4, bend your elbows. So in this position, you bring the shoulders down and the shoulders slightly forward. Bring the elbows up and slightly back. Bring the little finger down as if the little finger is trying to get towards your thumb, as if your little finger is trying to get toward the front of the shoulder. And in this position, hold for a moment, knees a bit bent, drop your hips, relax the abdomen, breathe into the abdomen, and check the neck and face are free and soft, pelvic floor relaxed, then come back down. And see how that one feels. How do your fingers feel? Do you feel warmer? Wrists, how do they feel? Elbows and shoulders, how are they feeling? Can you move a bit freer yet? Check. How's your neck feel? Last one. Nerve tensioning number 5. We'll do 1, 2, 3, 4 first. 1, turn the shoulders in, stretch the wrists. 2, turn the shoulders out, open the palms. 3, point the fingers up. 4, bend the elbows, little finger to thumb. Number 5, turn the shoulders in. So here in this position, bring the shoulders down, lift the elbows up, push the shoulders backward, bring your elbows forward. Now pull the little finger towards your thumb as if you're trying to bring the little finger under the armpit and see how that feels. While doing it, relax your face. Check the neck is relaxed, pelvic floor relaxed, hips dropped. Breathe into your abdomen and check you can either breathe naturally into your abdomen or roll your abdomen like I'm doing now. Something that most people can't do easily, but when you do it, it should feel relaxed and soft. Then release. So now move again, check fingers, wrists, elbows, check the shoulders, and is there any freeness? Do you feel more stable? And for those who wish, you can check, having done those exercises, does it feel better if you do something like a wrist stretch weight bearing? So just do a couple more times. We'll go 1, turn the shoulders in, and you can make it stronger, shoulders down, elbows up. Number 2, turn the shoulders out, push the shoulders down and forward, elbows up and back, pull the little finger toward the elbow. 3, keep the inner elbow pointing up, point the fingers up. Here again, shoulders down and forward, elbows up and back. When I say shoulders down and forward, imagine your arms are in front. So shoulders forward means push the shoulder blades forward till you feel length between the shoulder blades. Keep the shoulder blades forward, then take your arms back. You'll feel a stronger sensation of tension, lengthen in the nerves. Then, number 4, bend the elbows. So here, shoulders down and forward, elbows up and back, little finger toward the thumb. It's a stronger feeling if you tighten your armpits. Relax your abdomen, breathe into the abdomen. Now turn the shoulders in, number 5, and shoulders down, elbows up, shoulders backward, elbows forward, pull the little finger in toward the thumb, and breathe into the abdomen. Knees a bit bent, drop your hips, relax the pelvic floor. And now we do a couple of times. Position 1, follow. 2, turn the shoulders out. 3, point the fingers up. 4, bend the elbows. 5, turn the shoulders in. 1, straighten the elbows. 2, turn the shoulders out. 3, point the fingers up. 4, bend the elbows. 5, turn the shoulders in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Continue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we do 3 more times. So just follow gently, keeping a sense of being relaxed. And last time. And notice if it's making you feel warmer, then release. Feel your fingers and wrists. Are they feeling freer, looser? Feel your elbows. Are they moving more freely? How about your arms? Are they moving more easily? And what about your shoulder blades, your neck. Are they moving more freely? Test now, those who can, to weight bear on the wrists. A lot of wrist pain only manifests when you weight bear on it. So you could just simply put the weight on the wall, like a wall push-up, take your hands lower than your body, bend the elbows and lean against the wall. How does that feel? How does it feel compared to doing it at the start? Those who can do it on the floor, kneel if it's comfortable for you, and then put the palms flat, and then take the shoulders closer towards your wrists and see if that feels a bit better. Now, if you're doing something like a push-up, what makes it better to do a push-up and more stable for the wrists is not just to lean on the palms. What can make it better for those of you who are trying a push-up, and it's not for everyone, keep your palms flat, but I want you to grip with the tips of the fingers. So have your palms flat, but make the tips of your fingers press as if they're clawing the ground. So the fingertips will appear to go white. So again, palms flat, knees on the floor is enough, knees off the floor if you prefer. And so make the fingertips press so they're white. Then keep the elbows over the wrists and bend the elbows in a half push-up. See how that feels on your wrists. Okay, then come back up. That usually helps relieve wrist strain. But if the wrist strain came back, immediately do this first nerve tensioning, and that can be very relieving. Don't do something which causes pain you can't relieve. As a definite rule, don't do something which causes pain while you're doing it, ideally. Okay, ever. It's not worth it. You know, the idea of no pain, no gain is a stupid mantra and doesn't really work. So the other thing you can do to relieve the problems of your wrist, elbows, shoulders, and give you better strength in this position, because lack of strength, you could say, is a type of dysfunction, is when your palms are on the floor in the push-up, keep your hands where they are, but be as if you're trying to squeeze the heel of the hand inwards, as if you're trying to do this. So try it again. Have the palms flat, fingers grip, bring the elbows over the wrists, then squeeze the heel of the hand inwards as if you're doing that action. And then from there, see if it feels okay. Fingers grip, heel of hand squeeze inwards, elbows over the wrists, and bend the elbows, go down and come back up. Try a couple of times if you wish. Fingers grip, heel of hand squeezing inwards, and keeping your chin in slightly makes it easier. Chin up makes it more difficult usually for most people. So try that. And now stand up again. If the wrist feels a bit strained, then I recommend again turn the shoulders in, stretch the wrists. Learning how to squeeze the heel of the hand inwards can really help elbow function. Okay, so that's important. Now, let's work a little bit more systematically on the elbows, wrists, and shoulders. And so useful exercises for the elbows, wrists, and shoulders are ones which include joint circular movements. So, for example, with the shoulders, you have to think that it's not just the arms going back and forth, but you've got shoulder blades. And a lot of shoulder problems can be relieved when you move the shoulder blades. So with your shoulders now, consider just shoulder blade movement. Start facing towards me. Have your knees a bit bent. Take your shoulder blades up, shoulder blades down. Take your shoulder blades forward and shoulder blades back. Now move in a circle. Go shoulders up, then shoulders down and forward, shoulder blades down and back slightly, shoulder blades back and up slightly, shoulder blades up and forward slightly. So keep going. It's the shape of a diamond. Back and up, forward and down, down and back. And turn the diamond into a circle, but make the circle smaller. So it doesn't feel like you're stretching your shoulders. It should feel like you're moving them in a way that if, for example, you could make a really big circle with your shoulders, don't. Make a circle that's only half as big. So as you move your shoulders in a circle which is not as big as you could make, then you're not testing the limits. You're just moving the shoulder blades. It frees up the joint, and it also pumps blood, and that nourishes and heals anything which is injured. So do it like this. Do it forward, and you might do it 10 times forward like this. See how it feels? Now go back the other direction. So go shoulder blades forward and up, shoulder blades upward and back, shoulder blades backward and down, shoulders down and forward, shoulders forward and up and back, back and down and forward, and continue in a circle of backward rotations like this. And again, if it's a big circle you're making, make the circle smaller so it doesn't feel like a stretch. I'm not feeling like I'm stretching. And while doing it, really focus in these exercises on staying relaxed in 5 key places. One is check your fingers are lengthened, but they can move. 2 is check the shoulder blades feel like they're not stretching, feel more relaxed in your shoulders. 3, check the neck feels relaxed. You can move it a tiny bit. 4, relax the pelvic floor and let your hips move a little bit. 5, drop the hips, lengthen the lower back, and breathe into your abdomen, or let the abdomen roll if you can. And then 6, the next one is check your face is relaxed. So check the face is relaxed. Move your lips, jaw, blink a few times. Move your eyes a bit. And then stop. Now there's a third and fourth exercise for the shoulder blades, and we've done shoulder blades rolling forward. We've done shoulder blades rolling backward. The next simplest one is to move like a bicycle. So the bicycle, if you're going forward, rolls this way. So make your shoulders roll that way if you're riding a bicycle forward. So start with right shoulder up, left shoulder down, right shoulder forward, left shoulder back, left shoulder up, right shoulder down, right shoulder back, left shoulder forward. So we go right up, right forward, right down, right back, right up, left down, right forward, left back, right down, left up, right back, left forward, and continue like rolling forward, pedaling forward on a bicycle. And as you're doing it, don't move your head. Keep your head still. Keep your knees a bit bent. Check your fingers can move. 1, then stop the fingers. Check your shoulders feel more relaxed, so don't stretch so far. Check your neck is relaxed. You might move it a tiny bit without wobbling it off. Then just drop the hips, relax the pelvic floor. And as you relax the pelvic floor, notice your hips might want to move a little bit. Now relax the abdomen and drop the hips so your lower back is unsquashed. And not only is this relieving your shoulders, it also will improve the function of your neck, and it releases the lower back and it pumps blood. So this particular exercise is a very, very good exercise. And now stop, and we do the same thing. Exercise 4 of the shoulder blades is to roll backwards. So now again, stand with your knees a bit bent, drop the hips, lengthen the lower back, and now we go right shoulder up, left shoulder down, go backwards, right shoulder back, left shoulder forward, right shoulder down, left shoulder up, right forward, left back, right up, left down, right back, left forward, right down, left up, right forward, left back, right up, back, down, forward, continue. If you just focus on one shoulder, let the other shoulder do its opposite work, it works easier. And as you're doing it, don't overstretch. Check your fingers are lengthened, they're not curled up and crushed, but they're able to move gently like mine are. Check the shoulders are not stretching, they're not going their whole way, but they're moving in a way which feels like you're not scraping the edge of your range of motion, you're just moving calmly. Keep your head still, but check the neck feels relaxed. Drop the hips, relax the pelvic floor, and notice the hips will move, maybe in the shape of a bit of a figure 8 perhaps, if they're comfortable. And as the hips drop, lengthen your lower back, which releases lower back, and breathe into your abdomen. And eventually your abdomen can start to move in and out, as you see mine does, like this, which is more advanced. And that can really relieve not just the shoulders and the neck, not just the hips and the spine, but it can be tremendous for internal organ function. You can see my abdomen goes in and out as I take the weight from the front of the toe to the heel, front of toe to heel. When my hips are really free, when my shoulders move comfortably, my whole body wants to move. And then my abdomen goes out when the weight's on my toes, in when the weight's on my heels. And this is a really great way to release the lower back and move energy in the body. Then release. Okay, so this is one of the most effective things you can do to relieve a lot of shoulder function. Just test now. How does it feel to bring your arms up? Is it a bit freer? Bring your arms backward. Is it a bit freer? Bring your arms out to the side and inward, backward, inward. How does it feel to turn the shoulders in and out? It should be a little bit freer. Now you can also get some good effects by moving the ball and socket joint of the shoulder. So for that, you make a figure 8 pattern. So start with your knees bent, and you can do 2 ways. One way is to start with your inner elbows leading the movement of a figure 8. So you take your inner elbows forward and outward, then bring the arms inward, bring the back of the hands towards each other. Now bring the hands back behind you and outwards. Now turn the shoulders out, come close to the center of your body. Now go forward and out, turn the shoulders in, come close together, back of the hands close. Go backward, then turn the shoulders out, bring the hands close. Go forward, then turn the shoulders in, bring the hands close. Go backward, then turn the shoulders out, bring the hands close, and continue in what looks like 2 figure eights. As I'm making these patterns with my arms, it looks like I'm drawing an 8 on my left side, an 8 on my right side, or 2 infinity signs. And as you do this, do it in a way which doesn't feel like it's stretching. And if it's comfortable for you, allow the shoulder blades to gently move a little bit. And while doing it, check the fingers can move, check the shoulder blades are relaxed, check your neck is free, drop the hips and check the pelvic floor feels relaxed. How relaxed? Well, as relaxed as you can make it. Make it, if possible, so the pelvic floor feels like if you relaxed it any more, you'd go to the toilet, but don't, obviously. Don't relax your pelvic floor completely if it feels uncomfortable. Do what feels right for you. If you've got a pelvic floor problem, you need to address it. It's a different situation. Now check your face is relaxed as well. Maybe move your lips and jaw. And then release. Notice if that warmed you up. It usually does. And it usually helps shoulder function, neck function. And the other way of doing that is leading from the back of the elbows. So doing a figure 8, then we're going outward as we go forward, then inward as we go back. But you can do it the other way around, turning back the other way. So turn your shoulders in, lead from the back of the elbow, go forward and inward, go outward wide, then go backward and inward, then go outward wide, then forward and inward, outward, backward and inward, then outward, forward and inward, outward, backward and inward, outward, and continue like that. And as you're doing it, be soft. Check the fingers can move first. Check the shoulder blades feel really relaxed. They're not tense. Check the neck feels relaxed. It might move just a tiny bit. Check the pelvic floor feels relaxed, which means your hips are free to move if they want to. Then check your lower back is relaxed. And check the lower back feels relaxed. And you can breathe into your abdomen or let the abdomen roll like mine. And then release. Good. And now see, has that made your shoulders, neck, head feel better? Check. Move your neck up and down. Move your head side to side. Move your neck right to left gently. Move your arms up and down, out and in. Turn the shoulders in and out. Do your arms feel freer? Does your neck feel free? Maybe. Do you feel warmer? Has blood flow increased without your heart rate increasing? This is something that's really important to test, because if you can get good blood flow while staying calm, your immune system works better and you heal better from any joint injury. If you can do a movement of any of the joints which is injured and move in a way where you don't feel discomfort, that's one of the biggest steps to healing it. So any joint that's injured, you'd want to move it as much as you can, subject to feeling no pain, no discomfort. And if you can get that movement to be a circular movement or a figure 8 movement, it actually nourishes the joint by increasing blood flow. It builds energy rather than taking it away. And it will mean that then blood flow increases while your focus is on staying relaxed, pain-free. And then your immune system works better to heal it. This is true of pretty much all the therapies. You want to improve body health by doing 2 things: encouraging better blood flow, but without the heart racing. Do it in a way where your nervous system stays calm. You don't get increased heart rate, increased breathing, sense of stretch or tension, but you become more flexible, feel stronger, feel warmer, but feel calmer at the same time. That's the pathway to getting healing in your joints and internal organs. Let's work on the elbows now. So a simple elbow movement combined is bent elbow, straight elbow. Do that. Then turn the palm down, palm up with bent elbow. Then you combine these movements. Go palm up, bend elbow, palm down, straighten elbow. Palm up, bend elbow, palm down, straighten elbow. And you do this up and down like that. And notice, as you start doing this, it's mobilizing your joint. It almost feels like it's pushing energy out of your hands. But this is one of the best exercises to improve blood flow. And you can do it the other way as well. So we can lead back of hand down, back of hand up. And it's a different feeling. Energetically, it feels different, but it mobilizes the joint in a different way. And you're really making the elbow function much better. Rarely does the elbow bend by itself in everyday life. It usually turns in or turns out. So by practicing these movements of turning in and out at your elbow while bending and straightening, this mimics what you need in everyday healthy life, but do it without weights, without weight bearing, and you'll find it starts to improve blood flow and heal and nourish your joints and strengthen the joints as well. Then you can also progress this. Let's go back to palm up, bend elbow, palm down, straighten elbow, palm up, bend elbow, palm down, straighten elbow. Stop one hand and do one hand up, one hand down. And as you go up with one hand, down with the other hand, still leading from the palm, relax with the rest of the body. So relax the fingers, check they can move for a moment, stop the fingers. Now check the shoulders, feel relaxed, and they'll move a little bit as well. Now check the neck, feels a bit relaxed. Now relax the hips and feel the pelvic floor relax. Now relax the abdomen, so you lengthen your lower back by dropping the hips a little bit and breathe into the abdomen or roll the abdomen. Then relax the face. You can do all those things one at a time. You can go much slower if you wish, and you could keep doing that or do it backwards, leading from the back of the hand going up, back of the hand going down. And these are very good movements to get the body warm and just help joint structure and function improve. Release. Okay. Wrist exercises. Wrist exercises, it's good if you can understand the wrist will flex and extend, bend back and forth. But also if you face your palms towards you, you can move your fingers towards each other, little finger towards each other, or thumbs away from each other, like that. So if you make your palms face each other, make all those 4 movements move fluidly. So bring your fingers towards each other, fingers towards you, fingers away from each other, fingers away from you, and go fingers towards each other, towards you, away from each other, away from you. Fingers towards each other, towards you, fingers away from each other, away from you, and continue. And it's making the fingers and the wrists move in a bit of a circle. Now, as you're doing this, check the 6 places in the body are most relaxed. So lengthen your fingers, but check they can move. Allow the shoulders to be more relaxed. Feel the neck is relaxed. Then relax the pelvic floor by bending the knees. Relax the abdomen and breathe into the abdomen, dropping the hips still. Then relax your face. Now you can make the fingers roll in the way I'm doing now, which is down towards you, up away from you, or go in the opposite direction, down away from you, up towards you. Down away from you, up towards you. It's a different feeling. And if you really relax, you'll notice your elbows are turning in and out as well. And it's a very nice exercise. And then release. Notice if you're getting warmer. This is very, very good. So then the next thing you can do that I really enjoy doing is to move my fingers. And so these movements are really good to practice, and they're good for everyone, and they'll really improve blood flow. You see, what we want is to connect with our whole body. And so when you connect with your shoulders or your trunk, it's okay. But what you really want to help connect the whole body is your fingers and toes. If you can reach your fingers, you know your nerves and your blood have to go through everything else to get there. So practice. Lengthen the fingers like an open palm. Now grip with the fingers like a closed fist. Open and close. Open and close. And you can practice this in 2 ways. You could just do opening and closing like this. And some people do it with a sponge or like a muscle grip exercise. That's okay. But you could also do it without anything. And, times when I was walking, I used to do this several thousand times when I was walking. But it works better if you open and close in 24 different positions. So you can do 3 of them if you start like this. You can do a neutral wrist, or you can do a flexed wrist, open, closed. Or you can do an extended wrist, open and closed. You can do it with your elbows straight, open and closed. Or you can do elbows bent, open and closed. You can do it with your palms facing towards you, or you can do palms facing away from you. You can do it with your shoulders turned in, open, closed, shoulders turned out, open, closed. You can do bent elbows. You can do shoulders turned in, bent elbows. And each of those can be done with wrist neutral, flexed and extended, and then release. And see if it made you feel a bit warmer. If you take your arms up in the air and relax, you'll feel blood will go down and almost make your arms tingle, feel energized. You'll notice then if you are up for it and you take weight on your hands, you'll notice your hands feel a little bit more stable, a bit more pumped with blood. So these exercises are particularly good. Another good exercise for the fingers is to move fluidly. So like learning how to practice playing a piano, if you imagine you're playing a piano, instead of just gripping the whole fist, go thumb down, first finger down, middle finger down, ring finger down, little finger down, thumb up. Pointer finger up, middle finger up, little finger up, little finger up. Then go down, thumb, 2, 3, 4, 5, up, thumb, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down, thumb, 2, 3, 4, 5, up, thumb, 2, 3, 4, 5, and continue. So you're opening and closing your hands like playing a piano. And this is something which I find myself doing whenever I've got spare time. And as you're doing it, it makes the fingers really connect. Because you're working with your fingertips, energy and information, good energy and loving information inside your body has to travel all the way to your fingers, and that has to go through the whole body to get to the fingertips. You could also do this with the toes. So imagine if I want to, if my balance is good, I can lean on one leg and do it with my toes of one leg. I could do it lying on my abdomen and do it with both legs. In fact, all the exercises I've given, you can even combine. So this exercise here, I'm doing it with my toes while I'm turning my thigh in and out. And I can make it easier by holding the wall. I could do fingers plus wrists plus elbows plus the figure 8 of the arms, the roll of the shoulders, and then I'm moving my whole trunk in a way which really fixes up not just arm function, but neck function. So I think maybe you can feel something in your arms now. Let's look at the neck, shall we? So to make the neck work better, it's important to understand that neck needs to be balanced. And when you bring your head forward or backward, your neck should go in the opposite direction for optimal function. So if you bring your head down, move your neck backwards. If you bring your head up, move the throat forward. Try it for a moment. Go head down, neck back. Now go head up, move your throat forward. This gives good neck therapy. So bend the knees slightly, drop the hips, lengthen the back. Relax your abdomen. Check you can breathe into the abdomen. Then lift the collarbone, but relax. Then go head down, neck back, throat forward, chin up. Head down, neck back, throat forward, chin up. Head down, neck back, throat forward, chin up. Head down, neck back, chin up, throat forward. Head down, neck back, chin up, throat forward. Head down, neck back, chin up, throat forward, and continue in a circle. Chin up, throat forward. Chin down, throat back. Chin up, throat forward, chin down, neck back. Throat forward, head up, head down, neck back, and you move in a circle like this. Do it very gently. And then release. Make sure you don't feel a stretch while doing it. You should feel length and relaxation. Another important thing to do with the neck is when you're turning the neck, you do it in a way which does not compress the other side. So if I'm facing away from you and you can face towards me, turn your head to look over the right shoulder. Now when you look over the right shoulder, the neck will work better if you lift the right ear up and the chin in slightly. If you turn the head over the left shoulder, try that. Your left neck tends to squash. So you lift the left ear up, chin in, neck back slightly. Jaw relaxed. So again, turn the head to the right side. Make more space in the right neck by lifting the right ear up, chin in, neck back. Now turn the head to the left side and lift the left ear up. Chin in, neck back. Head down, neck back, look over right shoulder, right ear lifted. head down, neck back, look over left shoulder, left ear lifted. Now come back to the front and move throat forward, chin up, then head down, neck back. Now notice when you're doing this, it can be, if you're gentle with yourself, you have to be careful. If you've got a major neck problem, you only move the slightest amount, like maybe this is throat forward, chin up with a neck problem, head down, neck back with a neck problem, even less if you need to. It has to be very, very subtle. You don't do something which hurts. Do what feels good. But all movement should start from the core. So an important principle you always work with is make every movement start from the core. And to make things start from the core, the most important thing you do is don't lock the core. And the core is the region between the top of the hips and the tailbone, around the L5-S1, where many people get lower back pain. And from the front, it's between the navel and the pubic bone, in the middle, inside. So that region in there is the core. The big version of the core is your abdomen. A bigger version of the core is the trunk. Learning how to move your trunk is really important. So one of the biggest mistakes that many people can make is to think they must always walk with their abdomen in, their chest up, shoulders back and down, and maintain a neutral spine. If that's what you're doing, you're going to end up feeling and walking and functioning like a robot. And when I say like a robot, when a robot's parts break down, you just change them. So someone who's always walking with a rigid and straight spine will find they put a lot of strain in their shoulders, their hips, and their knees. And by the time they get to 100, if they get that far, will need hip replacements, joint replacements, knee replacements, shoulder replacements. Because when the spine does not move, when the core does not move, it puts extra strain on the other joints. So what you want is not to lock your core, but to move from your core. So when we talk about this, let's work on the lower back now, and then we're going to work lower back, upper back, and neck, and try and bring it all together. So when you're working on the lower back, if lower back pain is an issue, usually the issue is coming from the lower back being compressed around L5-S1. So the trick will be, when you bend forward, lengthen the lower back by shortening the front of the trunk. When you bend backward in a way which does not compress your back and lengthen the front of the trunk. So if you place your one finger of one hand on the collarbone and the other finger of the other hand on your pubic bone, to bend forward, what I want you to do in the beginning is not move your eyes. Keep your eyes looking straight ahead, and I want you to bend forward in a way, and I'm going to look straight at the camera, you look straight towards me, so you move the pubic bone up and the collarbone down, and keep the chin moving up. So you have to expand the abdomen, look from the side. I'm expanding my abdomen so it sticks out and looks funny. Pubic bone up, collarbone down, chin up. So your throat forward, chin up, so the neck feels okay. So I'll come back up. So the way you release your lower back, for many people, make sure it feels okay for you. There's 1 in 50 people who usually tries this and gets it wrong. So if you're not feeling right doing it, don't do it. But if you can, I want you to bend forward in a way where you lengthen the skin of the lower back. And so to do it, I want you to feel, if you can stand up straight for a moment, so you lock your knees, lift up your chest, pull the shoulders back. If that hurts your lower back, it's already a sign you've compressed your lower back. If you can take your fingers and grab the skin below the level of the top of the hips. There's the top of my hips. I'm going to find the spine 2 centimeters below the top of the hips, and I pinch that skin. If you can easily pinch that skin, it's probably a sign that you may be someone prone to lower back pain. If you want to relieve that lower back pain, one way of doing it is by bending forward in a way such that you cannot grab that skin. So if you grab the skin with one hand, face me, bend the knee slightly, push the pubic bone forward and up, move the top of the hips backward and down. Now move the navel outward like this so the belly becomes big like a baby's belly. And then move the throat forward, chin up, and move your collarbone down and forward. Then you'll feel it's very difficult to grab the skin of your lower back, and that can often relieve a lot of lower back pain. So try it with me. Pubic bone, knees bent. Bring the hips over your toes if possible, so sitting bones over the toes. Pubic bone forward and up. Top of the hips back, lengthen the lower back. Ribs back, lift the upper back. Belly expand and throat forward, chin up. Now you'll get better length in your back, lower back and upper back if you push your shoulder blades forward and turn the shoulders in and stretch the wrists. And this can be so relieving for your lower back. Now breathe into the abdomen. And here we check that you're relaxed in the 5 key places. Move your fingers. 1, 2, just let your shoulders roll a little bit. 2, 3, check your neck is free. 4, check your pelvic floor is as relaxed as you can make it and just move your hips a little bit. 5, check your lower back is lengthened and you can breathe into your abdomen and let the abdomen relax in this case, or you can breathe in without tension. Okay? And then from there, come back up. And see, has that relieved your lower back? Just move your back a bit better. Does it feel better in your lower back or does it feel worse? Another way you can relieve the lower back is to lengthen the front of the trunk. So to lengthen the front of the trunk without shortening the back, you move the pubic bone and collarbone further away. Don't think tuck the tailbone under. Think, lengthen the front of the body, relax the pelvic floor, bend the knees slightly, put the hand on pubic bone, hand on collarbone, and move the pubic bone down and forward, move the belly button up and forward, move the collarbone up and forward. Now bring your head down, the neck back, jaw relaxed, and notice there's no creases in my back. My front is bigger, but I haven't shortened my back. And then just come out of the pose for a moment. Watch the difference. I don't want you doing this if you've got lower back problems. But the difference is, for most people, if you bend backwards and shorten the back of your trunk, it will cause pain. But if you bend backward by lengthening the front of the trunk, it doesn't cause pain. So this is, I'll show you from the sides, this is me bending backwards by lengthening the front of my trunk. No pain for most people. Now, this is me bending backward by shortening the back. What I'll do is I stick my tailbone back and up and my shoulder blades back and down. And you can see from behind, there's creases in my back. When I do this, I can pinch the skin very easily. And that will cause pain in many people. So generally, don't do that. To bend backwards, lengthen the front by beginning by lengthening the lower back in a forward bend. Then lengthen the front by pushing the pubic bone down and forward, the belly button forward and up, move your collarbone up and forward, chin in, neck back, jaw relaxed, then bring the shoulders back and open the wrist like this. Now, if you lean back further, that's okay, but you have to keep lifting the collarbone, dropping the hips, and expanding the belly. Now, if you really relax in this pose, you'll find your front is firm, the rectus abdominis, but the sides are totally soft, like mine. So this is what most people can't do, but if you can't do, your internal organs won't work well. So to make the front firm and sides soft, move your fingers, stop them, roll your shoulders, stop them, move your neck a tiny bit, stop it, relax the pelvic floor, and just move the hips a bit, stop them, lengthen your back, breathe into the abdomen. Notice the abdomen is firm at the front, but you're able to breathe there. Side should feel soft by now. Then move your jaw, lips, blink a few times. Again, feel your abdomen. Front will stay firm, but side should soften at least a little bit if you're relaxed. To come out of the pose, move your lower back backwards and down, and then allow the shoulders to roll forward. In other words, don't come up by lifting the shoulders. Come up by moving your lower back backward and down, bend the knees a bit, and that relieves your lower back. Better still, more advanced, is to come down, come out of the pose by pulling your lower abdomen in. So I'll come down this time. You'll see my lower abdomen goes in. Then I push my lower back backwards. That's more advanced. So this is a really important thing to learn to do, to move from your core, to breathe from your core. And then once you understand this, you can start moving the spine in several different ways. Before I go further with my spine, or with the trunk, and eventually I'll run out of time, I just want you to give one exercise for the upper back. And the upper back is, sometimes people catch their ribs and it doesn't feel nice. So one of the exercises you can do, and it's not appropriate for everyone, is you bend the spine forward while pulling the shoulder blades back. You see, what happens normally is that when you bend the spine forward, the shoulder blades want to come forward. Now, if you pull the shoulder blades back, it makes your spine want to bend backward. Sometimes the spine, especially the upper back, needs a type of reset. And one of the ways you can do that is to override those natural associated movements. So what you can do is the following. Try it gently if it seems appropriate for you. Don't do it if it doesn't feel right. You bend the knees slightly, then lengthen the back of the body. Move the pubic bone down, belly up, chest up. Open the front of the body, then bring the shoulders back. Then, if comfortable, bring the hands in, interlock the fingers, and pull the shoulders closer together, closer to the hips, bring the elbows higher. Now keep your shoulders together. Now bend the spine forward without letting the shoulder blades go forward. So keeping the head up, push the pubic bone up, the belly button out, the collarbone down, and bend from the spine, not the hips. It's enough to do that much. Just come back up. What you don't want to do is this. So what many people will want to do is to let the shoulder blades go forward when they bend forward. If you do that, the exercise won't work. And the other thing that some people do is they keep the shoulder blades back, but they bend from the hips. See, I'm bending from my hips, not my spine. What you want is to bend the spine forward while pulling the shoulder blades back, and that releases the upper back. And I've had people who have had upper back pain for several years. They do this exercise once and it can release it. So maybe that's helpful for you. It's also very good to release the neck, this exercise. So we do it again, and we take it one step further, those who can. Bend the knees, round the back out, shoulders forward, then pubic bone down, belly up, chest up, bring the shoulders back, turn the shoulders out, interlock the fingers, shoulders closer together, closer to the hips, elbows higher, then bend from the spine, not the hips. Keep your shoulders together, throat forward, chin up. If comfortable, bend from the hips, not the head. Then if comfortable, bring the head down. Then expand the belly and move the throat forward, chin up. Then go forward again. Spine first, hip second. Keep the shoulders together, closer to the hips, elbows high. Bring the chin in. Then expand the belly and stand back up. Release the arms, push the shoulder blades forward, and release the upper back again. Release. This can be very, very helpful for many people. Now, once we understand this much, and there's really only a short amount of stuff I can do, you can start to make this work with the neck. So to make it work with the neck, you can start to go, the neck must start its movement from the core. So to start the movement of the neck from the core, it's like this. When your head lifts up, it makes you want to bend backward. But understand that before your neck bends backward, the core should bend backward first, which means the front of your trunk should expand. So I want you to try this. Bend the knees slightly. Before lifting your head up, expand the belly. Lift the collarbone. Then move your throat forward, chin up. When the head comes downwards, it's going to make your back bend forward. So make that happen first. So before bringing the head down, bend the knees, round out your lower back, round out the upper back, then bring the head down, neck back. Then to come up with the head, move the hips forward, expand the belly first, chest second. You can bring the shoulders slightly back. And with the abdomen expanded, move your throat forward, chin up. Then before bringing the head down, bend the knees a bit, round out your lower back, upper back, shoulders forward, head down, neck back. Then release. That's the way it works better for most people. And just to give you an idea of what would not work, try to do what many people think is right. And that is, tighten your pelvic floor, pull your navel toward the spine, and now lift the head up. And notice there's a lot more tension in the neck for most people, unless you're really used to it. So better, bend the knees, relax the pelvic floor, lengthen your back, expand the belly, then move your throat forward, chin up, and see the freedom. Round out your lower back, upper back, head down, neck back. Okay, I hope this helps. So what we'll do now is just finish with a set of simple spinal movements, and then we'll finish with a simple set of joint movements to see if your body feels a little bit more open, a little bit better in the ankles, knees, hips, waist, chest, neck, shoulders, elbows, wrists. Okay, so face towards me, and I'll give very basic instructions. Don't force, don't overdo. So stand facing towards me like this. I'm going to turn sideways sometimes, facing away other times. Bend the knees slightly, and we check first. Fingers can move, lengthened but can move. Shoulders lengthened but relaxed. Neck lengthened but relaxed. pelvic floor relaxed, hips can move, lower back dropped, lengthened, and the abdomen can breathe or roll. Then from there, we do the 8 basic spinal movements, which can help relieve the whole trunk, work with the core, and at the same time, they incorporate the exercises I've given you for ankles, knees, hips, waist, chest, neck, shoulders, elbows, wrists. It's a simple set of spinal movements. You can find this very accessibly in different YouTube videos. We've got our YouTube channels at simonborgolivier.com and also at yogasynergy.com. So we've got these sequences also available in the Spinal Synergy course at the Yoga Synergy website and also on my membership website at simonborgolivier.com. All of these exercises are on our Therapeutic Applications of Posture, Movement and Breathing course at Yoga Synergy. And they're also available in the courses that I teach at simonborgolivier.com in a different form in the sequences that we call the joint synergy, the ones we call 5-dimensional flow, and these movements for enhancing blood flow while keeping the heart rate low and the nervous system calm. Practice with me if you can. Bend the knees slightly. 8 simple spinal movements with the joint movements we've done incorporated. So keep your eyes on me. We'll do it twice. First time with instructions. Second time, no verbal instructions. So from here, lengthen the lower back and upper back. Move your shoulders forward and up. If you can, lift up your arms as high as you comfortably can. Bend the knees and check fingers can move. Shoulders can roll. Neck is free. Pelvic floor relaxed. Abdomen can breathe. Face soft. Then, number 3, bend the spine forward, shortening the front. By moving the pubic bone up, collarbone down, turn the shoulders in and stretch the wrists. And check fingers can move, shoulders can roll, neck is free, pelvic floor relaxed, and abdomen can breathe or roll. Number 4, keep the back long, expand the front, pubic bone down, belly up, lift the shoulders back, lift the trunk up, and turn the shoulders out. Check fingers can move, shoulders can roll, neck is free, pelvic floor relaxed, and the abdomen can breathe, front firm, side soft. Then move the lower back backwards and allow the shoulders to roll in. Reset by taking the arms up, fluidly come forward and down. Then lengthen the left side of the body, shoulders apart, hands apart. Stay here, or keeping the back long, lengthen the outer left hip and move the hips to the left side. And you can tighten your right thigh, turning the right thigh in like we did before. And take all the weight on the left leg, grip with the toes. And take your left armpit forward and up, and then release the neck. Breathe into the abdomen and check fingers can move, shoulders can roll, neck is free, pelvic floor relaxed, and the abdomen can breathe. Keep the left arm up, bend the knees, come back to the center, and both arms up, and both arms forward and down. Then drop the right hip, lift up the right shoulder, right elbow if you can. Shoulders apart, relax your throat. Hands apart, check the neck is free. Keep the back long, right side long. Now off, if it's okay for you, lengthen the outer right hip, shift the weight to the right leg and just come to left toe tip. Keeping the back long, you can tighten your left thigh, turn it in slightly, and lengthen the right side of the body. Lengthen and relax, fingers, shoulders, neck, pelvic floor, back lengthened, breathe into the abdomen, and then keep the right side lengthened. Bend the knees, come back to the center, keep the right arm up and both arms go up, then fluidly come back down. And then from there, we practice twisting. So first of all, bend slightly forward and twist the spine, not the hips, to the right side in a forward bend. Move the hips forward, expand the front of the body without shortening the back, and look over the left shoulder with the left ear lifted. Stay here, or if hips and knees are stable, move the hips over the toes, then turn from the hips. And here, tighten your legs by squeezing the right heel inwards and turning your left big toe to squeeze inwards till you feel the thighs firm, stabilizing the knees. Then from there, check fingers can move, shoulders can roll, neck is free, pelvic floor relaxed, and the abdomen can breathe. Keep your left arm still and move from your core, lower abdomen, pubic bone back to the center, and right arm under the left. Then expand the back of the body, trying to turn your thighs in, and expand the front of the body, belly open. Drop the hips and allow the shoulders to lift up, forward and down. And then from there, forward bend again, facing towards me. Keep the back lengthened and moving from the spine, not the hips. Twist to the left in a forward bend, keeping the right ear lifted and chin in. Move the hips forward and expand the front of the body. And keeping the hips still level, make sure the back is lengthened. Stay here. Or, if it's safe for your hips and knees, move the hips toward the toes and allow the hips and knees to turn. And stabilize your knees by squeezing in the heel. Pulling the left knee outward, lift the outer foot. Squeezing the right big toe inwards and tightening the inner thigh. And then check, fingers can move, shoulders can roll, neck is free, pelvic floor relaxed, abdomen can breathe. Keep the right arm still and move your pubic bone and left arm back toward the center, crossing the arms over. Then turn your thighs inwards, releasing the sacroiliac joint, lower back, come up. Then expand the belly, chest, move the shoulders back. Move the hips over the toes and let the shoulders lift up. Go forward and down, and then release, taking the arms forward and up, and forward and down. Repeat that simple sequence. It'll take about 2 or 3 minutes, but whenever I click, follow me, and my click means follow me, subject to feeling good. Move actively from the core with natural breathing and flow. Tense less, stretch less, breathe less, think less, and keep your eyes on me. Just continue doing this movement a few times, repeating. And if comfortable, make the elbows bend and straighten. Let the fingers move. Let the wrists move. Feel the elbows and shoulders roll. Let the hips move in a bit of a circle. Feel the weight go from the heels up and down toward the toes. And gradually you incorporate all the exercises we've been doing. And if very comfortable, once your trunk is extended, lift the chin. And once you've bent forward, let the head come down. only if it feels comfortable. And you're combining everything we've done very, very gently. And then finish by going forward, outward, downward, inward. Forward, move your fingers. Outward, let the shoulders move. Downward, let the neck relax. Inward, soften your face. One more. Pause with your hands close and move one hand up, one hand down, and see if you can feel a sense of warmth between the hands, maybe the manifest evidence of energy between the hands, reflecting the electromagnetic nature of the blood and what carries inside it. Then just relax with your body lengthened, knees a bit bent. If you wish, lower your hands a bit easier. Let your legs almost straighten. You can sit on the floor or lie down if you wish, just for a minute. Lengthen and relax. Drop your hips, relax pelvic floor, abdomen, armpits, jaw, and then close your eyes and be still for a few moments. And then open the eyes, lengthen the lower back, upper back. Bring your shoulders forward and up as high as you comfortably can. Expand the belly, chest and throat forward, chin up. Bend the knees and bring the arms forward and down, and once more like that. Thank you very much. I hope you feel a little bit like you've done something of benefit for yourself. Take what feels good from what I've said and what we've done. If any of the exercises feel doing better than others, do them more. Anything that doesn't feel right, don't do. Sometimes if something doesn't feel right the way you've tempted it, it could still benefit you by doing it less. And revise the lecture if you can. Go through it again, go through the exercises again. But if you'd like to learn more, please consider going to our websites. You can go to my personal website, simonborgolivier.com, or my website with my wonderful business partner, Bianca Matchless, who's also an exercise-based physiotherapist like me, yogasynergy.com. And at yogasynergy.com, we have some wonderful courses based around modern yoga and exercise-based physiotherapy, including a course just like we've been doing today on the therapeutic applications of posture, movement, and breathing. Also another course called Spinal Synergy, where we go through movements like we've just finished with just then, and many other courses as well. Then if you go to simonborgolivier.com, we've got a beautiful membership site where I give lectures each week, where I answer questions and also teach classes each week for a couple of hours. And there's a big library of classes there as well, which include many of the things we've done tonight. Plus I have other courses at simonborgolivier.com, including one called 5-Dimensional Flow, another called Joint Synergy, another called 12 ways to move blood through your body. And I'll gradually release more also, and I can send you more information about this gradually. If you haven't subscribed to my membership list, please go to simonborgolivier.com, and if you enter your name in the subscribe list, I'll keep you on my newsletter, and I can keep you informed about these type of classes that I run, which I try and do every couple of weeks if I can, about different topics, sometimes geared towards normal people on a more therapeutic level, and sometimes geared toward more specialist elite athletes, yoga teachers, practitioners, martial artists, exercise therapists, etc., gymnasts, dancers, etc. So we have different focus, and sometimes focusing also on natural therapies, oil therapies, dietary therapies, breathing, etc. So we have lots of breathing courses as well. I'm really looking forward to sharing more time with you. Contact with me if you want to. You can go to simon@simonborgolivier.com to ask about what I'm doing, and we can help you as much as we can.